The Invasion of the Transdimensional Forces, Chapter 1. The arrival. The sky above the city was clear and blue, a perfect spring day. People walked down the sidewalks, laughing and chatting, enjoying the warm weather. It was just another normal day in the city, until it wasn't. A bright light suddenly appeared in the sky, growing larger and larger by the second. It seemed to be coming from some kind of portal, a glowing circle that shimmered and pulsated with energy. At first, people were excited. They crowded around the streets, pointing up at the sky and taking pictures on their phones. But as the portal grew larger, and strange objects began to emerge, the excitement quickly turned to terror. The first objects out of the portal were small and seemingly harmless, like colorful spheres and cubes that floated gently through the air. But then, more objects appeared, and they were much more frightening. Huge machines with jagged metal limbs and glowing red eyes, and strange creatures with multiple limbs and tentacles. People began to scream and run in all directions, trying to escape the chaos. Cars crashed into each other, and buildings shook as the invaders began to attack. The main character, a young woman named Maya, was working at a coffee shop when the portal appeared. At first, she couldn't believe what she was seeing, but as the chaos grew, she knew she had to act. She ran outside, dodging debris and ducking as lasers and other strange projectiles flew overhead. Maya quickly realized that she wasn't the only one trying to fight back. A group of people had gathered in a nearby park, armed with baseball bats, kitchen knives, and anything else they could find. They were trying to hold back the invaders, but they were hopelessly outmatched. Maya joined the group, grabbing a metal pipe from a nearby construction site. She swung it at one of the machines, hitting it hard enough to dent the metal. The machine turned toward her, its red eyes glowing with fury. Maya knew she had to keep fighting, even if it meant risking her life. As the first wave of transdimensional forces poured out of the portal, Maya and the others fought back as hard as they could. They knew that they were outnumbered and outgunned, but they refused to give up. They were fighting for their city, for their friends and families, and for their own survival. The battle raged on for hours, with no clear winner in sight. Maya fought with everything she had, swinging her pipe and dodging the attacks of the machines and creatures. She saw other members of the resistance fall, their bodies torn apart by laser fire or crushed by the machine's massive limbs. As the sun began to set, the portal finally closed, and the transdimensional forces disappeared back to their own world. The city was left in ruins, with fires burning and buildings collapsing. Maya looked around at the devastation, wondering what would happen next. This was just the beginning of the invasion, she knew. There would be more battles to fight, more lives to save, and more sacrifices to make. But for now, Maya and the other survivors would take a moment to rest and mourn the losses they had suffered. The Invasion of the Transdimensional Forces, Chapter 2. The Resistance. In the aftermath of the first wave of the invasion, Maya found herself wandering the ruined streets of the city, searching for any survivors. The devastation was overwhelming, and she felt a deep sense of despair at the destruction wrought by the transdimensional forces. But as she walked, Maya heard a faint sound in the distance, the sound of voices, raised in anger and defiance. She followed the sound to a nearby park, where she found a group of people gathered around a makeshift campfire. They were discussing their next move, their faces determined and grim. Maya approached the group and introduced herself. They welcomed her warmly, recognizing her from the battle earlier that day. They told her about their organization, a resistance group that had been fighting the transdimensional forces since the beginning of the invasion. The group was made up of people from all walks of life, former soldiers, scientists, doctors, and ordinary citizens who had banded together to fight for their survival. They had been working tirelessly to gather intelligence on the invaders and to develop new weapons and tactics to fight them. Maya was impressed by their determination and courage. She knew that she wanted to be a part of the resistance, to fight back against the transdimensional forces and protect her city. Over the next few days, Maya worked closely with the resistance. She learned how to use a variety of weapons, from guns to improvised explosives. She also participated in reconnaissance missions, scouting out the invaders' movements and gathering intel on their tactics. The resistance was constantly on the move, never staying in one place for too long. They knew that the transdimensional forces were always searching for them, and they had to stay one step ahead if they were going to survive. As Maya worked alongside the resistance, she formed close bonds with several of the other members. There was Max, a former soldier who had lost everything in the invasion and was now fighting to make a difference. There was also Emily, a scientist who had been working on a new weapon that she hoped would be able to take down the invaders' shields. Together, Maya and the resistance planned their next move. They knew that they couldn't take on the transdimensional forces directly, not with their current resources. But they were determined to find a way to strike back and weaken the enemy's hold on the city. Maya felt a sense of purpose and belonging as she worked with the resistance. She knew that they were fighting for something bigger than themselves, for the survival of their city and the future of humanity. And as they prepared for their next battle, she felt a sense of hope, knowing that they were not alone in their fight,